Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going through a Biz Talk discussion of finding capital in a time of frozen budgets. Today, I'm honored to have Haydn Hirstine joining us to talk about some opportunities and ways and methods that we can use to help find hidden capital and unlock expense in a time of tight and frozen budgets. Before we get started, I'd love to introduce Haydn Hirstine. Haydn is currently the president and CEO of PrecisionIT Incorporated. Haydn's prior experience includes being the founder and CEO of Paragon Solutions Group, which was sold to Foresight Technology in 2009. Haydn has been working with customers for over 20 years to help them drive infrastructure and software optimization. PrecisionIT, his company, is a leading SaaS platform that enables clients, technology resellers, and consulting firms to evaluate and consider what-if scenarios around infrastructure consolidation, cloud enablement, and financial modeling. Haydn, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Etienne. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Yeah, Haydn, I'd love to get into a couple of questions with you as we talk about our current situation and why everyone's working from home right now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Awesome. So, how is the current pandemic affecting the clients that you're working with?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We're definitely seeing the pandemic as an impact on all of our customers. The severity of that respective impact is dependent on the industry the customers are in. Just thinking through this, that some of the customers have, because of they may be in the auto industry or the retail, etc. They had to cut budgets and staff. Some of our customers have been able, it seems like their business is still okay, but we've seen that they've frozen their budgets, I think in anticipation of what the economic consequences are going to be of that pandemic moving forward.
Of course. Now, I know that you've got a platform that helps people find capital and find budgets or find expenses that they can eliminate. What are some of the hidden pots of gold that your tools find?
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the pots of gold analogy, but I'd say if I had to think, we find a lot of cost reduction areas for customers, but if I had to pick the, if you will, biggest pot of gold, it would be in the area of software licensing and software maintenance. And I think the good thing about that is that for most customers, that's one of their biggest budget items. And we're able to work with our platform and quickly determine areas that they can substantially reduce those costs, providing a very large ROI or return on investment in a very short payback period.
Absolutely. Okay. Would you? I know the tool has been able to, the platform's been able to show us several different capabilities and can show some examples. Would you mind walking us through some of the samples we can see?
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah. So the first slide here you see is actually the first page of the standard output of our analysis, and it's actually divided. It's one page, but we put it side by side so it's easier to read. But
of course,
it's the executive summary page, and so what we see here, if you just look at the, you see the title "Existing Infrastructure." That this workload for the customer was an Oracle workload environment running on an x86 RHEL VMware platform.
Oh, okay.
Anything you want to compare to determine what could be optimal or more optimal than what they're doing today, we refer to as a target. So in this case, we looked at 4 different targets: a hyper-converged solution, refreshed with new SSD storage, 2 public cloud options, AWS and Azure.
Okay.
Etienne, we're finding that this tends to be a more and more common analysis where there's a lot of great options on-prem, new technologies around converge, hyper-converge. The chip performance continues to get better and better. So there's a lot of great options there along with cloud. And so we're seeing more and more where we're looking at a variety of different options for customers, both on-premise and cloud.
Just to check, am I reading this correctly? Are you really seeing a 68% expense reduction? And is that typical?
Yeah, great question. I mean, this is probably on the higher side, but again, for customers, it's a famous answer, it depends, and it depends on what they're running today, what that workload is. Is it, if it has a lot of license software that's licensed per core. But yeah, it's not uncommon to see expense reductions up to 60%. But if I had to say an average, I would say it's probably 30 to 40%.
Wow. Okay. That's I mean, amazing. And I mean, a payback period of 3.2 months, that's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, I find clients anything under 12 months is a no-brainer.
Yeah, this is a very appealing one, you know, and I showed it because, and this was a real analysis for a real customer. So, but it's very appealing. And yeah, and there's definitely ones we see that aren't quite as appealing. But the great thing is that it's with the automation in the platform, it's not hard to do these. So we can work with a customer on looking at a lot of their different workloads and applications to determine where we might find that pot of gold, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and now I'm sure there's some people who are looking at this and saying it's too good to be true. Would you perhaps be able to walk us through some of the details?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to the next page, please. Yeah, so the 3-year TCO details we're looking at here is just another standard page that comes out in the analyses. And there's a lot of stuff going on here, but basically it gives a customer insight of how we arrived at the financial attributes on the executive summary page.
Sure.
And it does it in a very easy to read side-by-side comparison. So if you look at the column headings up above, again, the first column being the existing Oracle infrastructure, Oracle database infrastructure, compared to, we looked at, again, a hyper-converged solution, a compute refresh, and new SSD storage, and AWS public cloud solution, and Azure public cloud. A lot of the detail in the middle highlights the maintenance costs involved, the respective software licensing costs, implementation services, FT, full-time equivalent costs, and power and cooling. And if you go down to the bottom where you see the total 3-year cost, that's representing each column. Now you have in bold the total 3-year TCO cost. So for the existing environment, it's just over 5 million. You can see the next column over, the hyper-converged solution has a 3-year TCO of just over 1.6 million. And then you can respectively see the compute, AWS, and Azure there. So it's very nice to see what the total cost benefit is, looking at all the different options. And you can see on this one, the customer would be prudent to look at moving to any one of the options. There's going to be big savings, but you can get the detail here to see why the hyperconverge, as an example, was more optimal than the other ones.
This is absolutely extraordinary. I mean, just looking at it, it really is software licensing, as you said earlier, is where the savings are coming from. These are big numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's a great point. And generally, you know, one of the things we have in the system, why it's so easy to do these, we build in a software library. So once all we need to know is verbally what kind of software the customer's running. We point and click, and then the system has all the licensing methodologies of all the different software manufacturers built into it. So with this one, we're looking at the license cost. Is the software licensed by core generally has the biggest impact, and software licensed by per processor has a second. And then we see some software that's licensed per server, and that can still have an impact. But generally, it's in that order. The biggest benefit generally comes from per core licensed software, then per socket, then per server.
Wow. So I really appreciate that. So taking a look at this, there's a lot of detail in here. How long does it take to do the analysis?
Yeah, great question. Generally, we can turn these around in 1 to 2 days. And so the time to value is very good. But another key point that we emphasize with our customers is we like to say it's minimally invasive to them. In other words, we don't need collectors or agents. We just need a minimal amount of information to put into the system, and then we can turn these around very, very quickly.
Got it. Okay. Well, that sounds amazing. What other capabilities does your platform support?
Yeah, so we work with the customers on a number of different projects and areas. But just to highlight here, as you can see on the slide, we work with a lot of customers on workload placement, cloud sizing and migration planning, software licensing containment, which we sort of highlighted previously, and then capacity planning.
Wow. Well, Haydn, thank you for giving us such insights on your tool today. PrecisionIT and CloudLogic have been working together for pretty much since the inception of both companies. We're excited to be a partner of yours, and we're really excited about some of the things you've been able to help us do as a consulting firm in our capabilities around consulting, placement, migration and transformation, and cloud optimization. PrecisionIT has been one of the engines underneath through which we're able to do that. So I want to thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So just to round out, if you'd like some more information about PrecisionIT or CloudLogic, please feel free to reach out at optimizeaprecisionIT.com or optimizeacloudlogicit.com. Thank you.